Hello and welcome. Today I want to share with you how to make a delicious, nutritious, protein and fiber packed granola bar. In fact, this is a fig and coconut granola bar. Hi, I'm Annette Reeder from the Biblical Nutritionist.com, and it is my joy to serve you God's recipe for excellent health. And I got to tell you, today I have ripe figs on my tree outside, so I thought, wow, we need to make some fig recipes. But if you don't have a fig tree outside in your yard, that's okay. You could substitute dried figs instead. So let's get started. I'm going to start with 7 cups of old-fashioned oats. You cannot use steel cut and you cannot use the quick oats. This can only be the old-fashioned rolled oats. To this we're going to add a half a cup of oil and a teaspoon of salt. Actually, wait a minute, it's a half a teaspoon of salt. And I already mixed my salt in with my oil. And I'm just going to toss these oats and just kind of lightly coat them with the oil. And then we're going to bake this at 375 for about 20-25 minutes. I'm going to kind of stir it, pretty often in the oven, and just so they don't burn and they evenly bake. I make granola fairly often, but when you toast the oats first, the granola bars just have a deeper flavor and just a better crunch to them. So that's what I want. I love granola bars, but more importantly, I love protein bars. And so as you know, I love teaching about protein and fiber. And so what I've done is I actually got this recipe, the start of this recipe, from the California Fig Growers website. But I made so many changes because I wanted to increase the protein and increase the fiber so that these could just be a super nutritious. They could be a lunch bar or it could be a snack bar. And so anyway, plus increase the flavor too. All right, so I'm just going to spread this out on my pan. Some of you may be noticing that I'm using my Fisky, which is it's a mixture of a fork and a whisk together. It is so useful. We have been giving this away to people who make purchases on our website. We have 2 websites. The other website is designedhealthyliving.com, and that's where we have our store of cooking items. I'll put a link to that down below. And we've been giving these away free. So if we have any left and you place an order, we'll ship it with your order. All right, so I'm going to put this in the oven at 375 for 20-25 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, now we're going to do step 2. And for this, I'm going to use my food processor that attaches to my immersion blender. If you don't have one of these, I just use it all the time. In fact, mine's even dirty because I used it to chop up the nuts that we're going to add later. So I'm going to start with 2 cups of fresh figs. Like I said, if you don't have fresh figs, that's okay. You could use dried figs, but they would be added in the next step, not right now. And we're going to add almost a cup of honey. I know that's a lot of honey, but actually the original recipe was 3/4 a cup plus a 3/4 a cup of brown sugar, which I don't use brown sugar. So I'm using the fresh figs, and I'm going to pull the sweetness from those. And I'm using 1 teaspoon of vanilla and then 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Cinnamon is optional because I know some people are allergic to cinnamon, so that would be okay. So now let's blend this up. We have it. Oh yes, nice and smooth. So there we go. So you can kind of see that. So this is ready. When the oats come out of the oven, we will add this to them. First we'll let them cool, then we'll add this to them. And then when that's mixed in really well, we'll add our other ingredients. Okay, to the next step. Our oats are out of the oven, and I turned the oven down to 300. I went from 375 to 300 to get ready for our next step. I'm going to go ahead and put these toasted oats in our bowl here. It always amazes me how good it smells when you're roasting grains in the oven. Even nuts too, and seeds. You really start smelling the goodness that's in them. Trying not to make a mess like I usually do. There we go. Okay, now we get to start adding the goodies. So I'm going to go ahead and add in our mix. Don't want to miss out on any of it. And this food processor and immersion blender kit, I use it all the time. It's just so much easier. It's compact. If we were in an RV, I would definitely have one in there too. It's just so much easier than getting out my bigger appliances. Just gonna mix this up really well. Boy, is that smelling good. Of course, how can it not with all that honey and those figs? Total goodness. Now, some people may say, oh, I don't like figs, but like this recipe, you don't even know there's figs in there. I mean, I can taste them, but most people will not even recognize that flavor. All right, so that mixes that up. Now we're going to go ahead and add our next ingredients. So to increase the protein, I am actually adding a protein powder. This is my favorite. It's GBX protein. The GBX stands for it helps with gut and brain healing. So not only does it help with the microbiome, it gives us a good dose of protein and it increases our fiber content. So that's a definite plus. I use that as my smoothie mix all of the time. It just has a nice creamy flavor. I know you're wondering, well, what kind of protein is it? It's a chickpea protein, chickpea powder protein. It does have a little bit of pea protein in with it too, but chickpeas are so healthy for the microbiome, even more so than the pea proteins that are out there and seem to be very popular. All right, boy, that even added a vanilla flavor, so that intensified the smell too. I'm gonna add some coconut. Now, coconut needs to be unsweetened. I just want the coconut for its goodness. I don't want all that sticky coconut sugar that's out there on the market. So I added 4 tablespoons of coconut. That gives me more protein, that gives me more fiber, plus other nutritional benefits. Get that out of the way. The salt that I used was real salt. This is my favorite. I'll put a link to it down below. It just has all of the minerals that come with salt naturally. Hasn't been bleached and removed of the nutrients. So your body knows exactly what to do with it. In fact, you need less salt when you get real salt. Okay, so now we're gonna add our flaxseed. Once again, I was looking for ways to increase the fiber and the protein. The more I increase that, the more satisfying these bars are going to be. So even though we do have 1 cup of honey, we're offsetting that with the protein and the fiber, so you're not going to have a spike in glucose and insulin. All right, that's mixed in. And lastly, I'm going to add 1.5 cups of chopped, and today I'm using almonds, but you can use any nut that's your favorite. Now, once I used this for chopping the nuts, it's just so super simple. Yes, I've done it by hand, not my favorite way. I've done it with my big food processors, and that's okay, just more cleanup. But this handy gadget, if you don't have one, you really need one. So make sure if you do buy an immersion blender with the food processor, it should also come with a smoothie cup. I'll put a link to the one that I use down below. You know, it's good to cook healthy, but you gotta have a few tools to make it work, or to make it not so much work. And then the flaxseed was fresh seed, and fresh meaning just whole, and then I blended it myself to grind it up. You always want to grind up your flaxseed right before using it so that you get all of those lignin oils and the benefits for your hormones and just everything else in your body. All right, we are now ready to put it in the pan. Now I just got to tell you, my husband, I want him to eat these bars, and he will eat them like they are, but if I add a few chocolate chips, he'll eat them even more. So I'm just going to add in a few chocolate chips. These are an organic dark chocolate chip. I'm just going to add them in just to please him. You got to please the ones you love without, serving unhealthy food. There we go. Okay, that will definitely please him. I probably should add just a few more. Just might as well empty that bag. It was about half full when I started. All right, so now I'm going to put these in our prepared pan. And then we're going to bake them at 300. And then when we get done with that, we'll cut them up into some bars. And the bars should last, even at room temperature, for at least 2 weeks if you seal them up in some nice saran wrap or a good snack bag. Okay, just pat that down. Still using my Fisky. I'm so glad I discovered this is totally my new favorite tool. You know how sometimes you want a rubber scraper, or you want a fork, or you want a spoon, or you want to whisk, stir up the ingredients a little bit better? Well, this does it all. Now, I mentioned in the beginning the oats, I coated them with some oil, some olive oil. You could actually use melted butter, and then that would enhance the flavor even more. Oil is oil. All oil is going to have the same number of calories. It's just a matter of what quality oil are you able to obtain. Or if you are a person who uses butter. Some people, I understand, you just don't want to use any animal products, and I totally get that. And there's nothing wrong with that. All right, let me just finish off with this. I want to pat it as dense as I can because I want the bars to really stick together. So the more I can pat that down to fill this pan, the better they will turn out. I really want them densely packed. You can kind of see the bars there. Okay, I think we're ready to put them in the oven. We're going to put them in the oven at 300 and let them bake about 20 minutes. We have our coconut fig granola bars, and they smell good. And as you can tell, I've already had a few pieces taken out, and I can just tell you they taste good too. Now let me just correct what I said. I said I was going to bake them for 20 minutes. They actually baked for 35 minutes. So I wanted to correct that. And also just realize they need to cool about 15 minutes before you cut them. And when you go to cut them, I always use my very favorite tool, which is the dough scraper. This is just your all-around, gotta have it, gotta use it, you will use it in your kitchen tool. So this just works really perfectly for cutting. So just go ahead and dish a few up, enjoy them in your morning for breakfast. This could be a snack, this could be a lunch. It's got the protein, it's got the fiber, so this is a delicious, delicious treat. Enjoy it. Let me know how you liked it. Did you use fresh figs or did you use dried figs? Can't wait to look at your comments. Be sure and hit the like button if you like this video. That tells me that I'm giving you the content that you enjoy and that you're learning from. I really want you to learn how to cook, how to be confident in the kitchen, how to be confident in understanding that God loves you. He created you for a purpose, and I want to help you be healthy to fulfill that purpose, because that's when you will be your happiest self. Thanks for watching. I'm Annette Reeder, the Biblical Nutritionist, serving God's recipe for excellent health.